Hi guys, Jared here with Day Traders FX. It's been a good day and a good morning so far, and let's talk about what's going on. We can see markets have just kind of been flat. Gold is kind of slowly creeping up. Oil spiked, and it has just stayed for days. And Dow and S&P have been pretty uneventful for days and days now. We had a couple of big days. Geez, what was it? Over a week ago, and then it seems like there just hasn't been much going on since. So. Seems like today is just one more of those days. As far as news announcements go, we saw retail sales. All the numbers basically beat expectations. The PPI was a little bit worse than expected, but retail sales and core retail sales came out pretty good. So we saw a little bit of reaction from that in the markets this morning. We don't have anything particularly exciting coming out for the UK session, and then for the US session tomorrow morning we have core CPI, which is always a good little mover, so we'll keep our eye on that one. And then tomorrow afternoon, watch out for the Aussie dollar pair or Aussie pairs, Aussie dollar, Aussie yen, Aussie CAD, anything like that, because we have employment numbers, and this could be, usually is a pretty big surprise one way or another. So we could see big runs up, big runs down. So just make sure you're cautious and careful with any Aussie trades that you may have running at that time. Okay, so quick little look at this euro dollar. This is what I've been talking about. I talked about this in the daily video yesterday. I've been talking about it to my group, trading group, this morning and today and so on, and that was watching this area and looking for buy opportunities between our weekly pivot point and 13300. And our weekly pivot point is about 132.70, and then 13300 is key support here. Now, the one thing I did talk about though yesterday was looking at this as a probable area where stops are going to get run. And guess what happened? There was probably a ton of buyers right here, and this thing ran right down to what's the low of this candle? Looks like we're at a low. Whoops, there we go. Okay, we have a low on this candle so far of about 132.65. So that's just far enough. That's 35 pips below 13300. That's far enough to stop out all the little buyers, medium buyers, big buyers that were posted up on that 13300. This is why I mentioned looking for a reversal candle at 13300. Or getting in just below that. And so what we did in the group on this little spike several hours ago, we put a buy order in at 132.75, and it went down, ran against us 7 or 8, well, I guess about 10 pips, and it has come back up nicely. We're sitting in some good profit, so a really great little move there. Once again, we touched that weekly pivot. Everything looks great, and so we're looking to take this thing quite a bit back up there. But we got a nice fill. We're sitting in some great profit, and exactly what we expected to happen happened, which was stops were run, people were taken out, and just as everybody was taken out of the market, it finally turned around and headed back up. So we got in just about at the bottom of this move, and it's looking good so far. What I think will probably be in the works for this euro dollar, we've got a nice little hammer on this 4-hour chart in the works. If we get a little bit of a more positive close here, this will be a great hammer and a great reversal continuation and a great failure to really make a significant break of 13300, and we should see this run back up into 13400 and potentially beyond. So as far as moves to make right now and things to be doing, we're already in this trade, and I don't know too much else besides we've locked in profit, and now we're just going to let this thing play out and see if we can get a nice good run out of this. A couple of things to keep an eye on though is we do have a missed daily pivot back here at just below 13200 from Friday. So the market at some point is going to want to get to that area and pick up that missed pivot before it continues up. So just keep that in mind. The pound dollar hasn't done much. The pound dollar has been pretty choppy the last little bit. We have a nice double bottom here on weekly support. First weekly support level, we have a great little double bottom, and that's kind of just holding so far. We're consolidating right at and below that daily pivot, and it's just kind of a mess. And so what I am looking to have happen here on this pound dollar, and what I think will be a good move, is remember from this weekly chart, we've got this huge, this is such a big reversal candle. I mean, this thing is massive right here. So from this guy right here, we should see, some further push lower. This is failing to make any significant move above the 200-day moving average. And we've got a big, huge weekly reversal candle that we're trading against. So that being the case, I'm still a little bit torn here. Below 159, 90, 95, I'm bearish like crazy. We're going to have a little bit of a pit stop probably around 159.50, which is the 200-day moving average. But this is going to really mark a significant break of a large trend line and major support. And we've got, a big triple top here that's really kind of encouraging that. So, but that's only if we get below 159. 90, 95, and that's not super far away. It's 70 or so pips away. But I'm also watching for reversal candles as we get a little bit lower. We can trade. Remember, we can nicely trade against this level. This 159.90, 95, 160. This will be a good level to trade against. Remember, below, at the extreme, below 159.90, this thing is bearish, and I'm turning into a seller. But areas that we, can still be looking for buy opportunities is just slightly above this 160 area. And there's trend lines, and there's all kinds of things here. So you can see the trend line kind of comes into contact around 160.15, 160.20. That's a pretty reasonable risk-reward ratio. It puts us about 25 pips on the chopping block for a stop. And keep an eye for reversal patterns. If we break, this is a nice little double bottom. If we break this 160.30, I can basically guarantee that we're going to test 160. Now the question is whether we're going to break or hold 160. That's the big question. But right now I still just favor trading against 159, 95, 160. So having our stops just right there below that. And buying, but I want to get a little bit lower. I want to get into this 160.30, and I want to see if we even break 160.30 so we can get a little bit of a lower price at that 159.90 something to buy and take this back up, or if we're going to get that break. So that's just kind of what I'm looking for. I'd like to see, again, a good reversal pattern. I'd like to see some good, consolidation and some nice holding there. Otherwise, I'm not too interested in anything on the pound dollar just yet. Euro yen gave us a nice little double top, and it has come down nicely. It's still way up here, and it's far from any kind of major correction, at least at this point. But it is starting to get interesting, and we are starting to see, some reversibility on this weekly chart. Probably there's a small chance that I'll be looking to take some euro yen entries later this week, but it's going to be, They'll be few and far between. Probably next week will be a better euro yen, yen anything kind of move. Aussie dollar so far, I sent this out on Twitter today. Hopefully you guys saw that, and that was watching the low of the week, 105.21, and we held that. And the reason I was watching that is because highs and lows of weeks are always important, number one, and number two, that basically overlapped perfectly with the 200-day moving average on the 1-hour chart. We ran down to it, bounced, and we're right back up again. There might be a little bit of a trade coming up here on this euro dollar, or excuse me, this Aussie dollar, as we break, 105.65, 105.70, and start getting above some of these highs. We might have a small opportunity to trade up into that 10600, which is where I'm still looking to trade the break. If we get above 10600, literally by a couple of pips, 106.05, I'm a buyer on the Aussie dollar. But we may actually have a little bit of an opportunity with this descending trend line if we get a break to trade up through that and into that 10600. So, 25, maybe 30 pips for an initial run, and then we have an opportunity to kind of wait and see if that's going to break. And likewise, I'm going to be looking for any kind of opportunity that this may reverse at 10600. So look for shooting stars, look for any kind of reversal candles, bearish engulfing, anything like that. That 10600 could definitely be a strong level and could definitely give way. And it could hold. So we just got to kind of watch for both those. You see that we have this big descending trend line on the Aussie dollar weekly chart. We had a big failure off this right here, and we're still below that high. And as long as we stay below that, I think that there's still bearish possibilities on this pair. So that's what I'm looking at. As far as the other pairs go, gold's been chopping around like it always does. Aussie, Euro Aussie, I'm still kind of looking for this daily pivot to get reached, 124.65 area. And then one thing to just really mention here, and this goes very nicely in line with the euro dollar, is that 9,300 on the dollar Swiss franc. This is not a pair that I trade a lot, but 9,300 is an important level. This is a big reversal candle on the daily chart, and we have just broken above that by a little bit. We're barely above that. You can see current market price is 93.10 ish, right around there. So we're just barely above that. But if we get a daily candle closing above this, I'm probably going to go long on the dollar Swiss franc. So this is what I'll be looking for here. So just keep an eye on that. This is constituting a nice breakout on this descending trend line, and we should see some good little movements happening there. So keep an eye on that. Not one I trade a lot, but again, above 9,300, we should see some good little movements. So keep an eye on that. Best of luck, guys. I will see you in the chat. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at DayTradersFX. Thanks, everyone.